What's up, you guys? That was kind of like Cartman, I guess. I'm toying with some intros. I got YOYO, big '90s hip hop fan. I don't want to be appropriating though, so maybe what's up, you guys? Like Cartman. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. My name is Jay Wells Laquie. I've wanted to make this video for a long time, but I've had some serious imposter syndrome because you don't know me. I'm gonna write some of my credits in the description below, or check out my website. You can pause it now and go check them out. So you're like, oh shit, the guy's done a couple things. He's not just he's not just booked one audition, and is making a video like how to book auditions. Didn't you check all that out? Oh my god. And some of the funny videos on my site, good lord, how does he do it? Before I delve into it, I guess my first tip involves the mindset. Early on, I started in '04, and maybe more so back then, the idea was like, you're a starving artist forever, and then all of a sudden you get plucked out of obscurity and you're a millionaire. So I kind of thought all or nothing like that. When I started thinking of it as like making a dollar at a time, it starts becoming real. Like even getting $20 for a 5 minute set on a show, you're like, oh my God, I've made money. Like it feels worth more than money you'd make in any other job, for me, anyways. And if you care that much about this and really want to do it, like, to cherish the money you make off of this is definitely a mindset to have. I really just want you guys to starve for a lot less than I starved. I really wish I had some business sense early on. I would not have starved as long because I feel like once I changed my mindset and thought about that $1 at a time thing, things really started clicking. I just kind of hit a point where I was like, I don't want to load trucks anymore. I don't want to serve someone brunch anymore. I don't like it, just hated it so much. I hated that so much of my time was being put into this, like other crap that just wasn't serving me whatsoever. And I just was so depressed. And I was like, how do I make money off of this thing that I love? And so I'm going to get to the old whiteboard right now. Production value out the wazoo. Look at this thing. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Drawing, production value. Good God. I started thinking basically about my income and what I actually needed every month. I lived in New York City at the time. My rent was $700 a month when I started getting a decent place. Um, Early on, it was like 300. I just lived with other impoverished artists in an utter hellhole, mice everywhere, roaches crawling on my chest as I slept, literally horrifying. I've had all those, just sleeping on kitchen floors with a balled up hoodie as a pillow. Save rent 700, bills, food, having some money to go drink. I felt like I love me some cocktails. Um, to make it easy, let's say $1,000 a month was my what I gotta make. Like, okay, so I made, $20 at a show. Now, you know, that's this much, and I only need to make 980, $50 at a show. You make whatever, $100 even out of 1,000. It To put it in terms of like, wow, I could fill my car with gas and or pay my internet bill with money I made off of comedy. Again, as basic as that sounds, it just makes it real. Like this is my real life income off of making people laugh, even if it's $100 a month. But you can't get to 1,000 without going through the 100. So, in the needing of time and putting your energy into something, again, I'll do the analogy of starting your own business. Say it's you want to start a burger shop, right? Um, you still have your regular job to pay your day to day, but you now have to put in money, time, and energy into this thing for even years before you open your doors and sell even one burger. So with comedy, luckily, the expenses paid isn't very much at all. Sometimes nothing to just write things, go out and get on shows. That's why the cliche is honestly, creative types being waitresses or bartenders or in the service industry, because one shift, like I worked at Wayne Gretzky's restaurant in Toronto, a waiter, you go in at 5, you're done by like 9 or 10, and you come out with like $300. And if back then my rent was only $600, my expenses total are 700-800 bucks, 3 shifts can deal with that. And that's how I literally would think, so that I could have 27, 28 days a month to, I wrote, 2 full-length screenplays back in the day, and I didn't know what I was doing, so it took a lot longer. I was auditioning every morning, but if I had a job that I had to be at, you'd have to say no to auditions. And what if that was, your big thing? That, I booked a KFC commercial that over time made like $25,000. But I wouldn't have got that if I had to work the day job. So it's this sacrifice of making less money, day to day, and maybe not having money to go out and do vacations or even brunches with friends or whatever that is, and live cheap as all hell, but for the possibility. And that's why I equate it to a burger shop. Is like people that believe in their product that much or their business that much put time, energy, money into something like that for the hopes of something. It's a risk. Keep your expenses insanely low, especially if you're young. Live with 8 other impoverished artists to pay $300 a month in rent. Have your $50 a month phone bill. You do a few shows at $50 each, you could be living off of comedy pretty early on, and then little by little it gets more and more. Another great job I had when I moved to New York City that really helped with this was working on set as a PA or set dresser. See how look at that, set dressings. I found the ones for TV and film, say, only paid like $150 a day, and you'd be there all fucking day, and you'd be like, oh my god, this is like 10 or 15 bucks an hour. It's not very good, and I'm gonna have to work a billion of these to get rent. But on photo shoots, commercials, fashion, stuff like that, paid a lot more. Like Ralph Lauren, there were times I was making $300 to $400 a day, plus overtime. On a crazy long day, could make like $600 a day. And if my nut was only $1,000, and there were times where like, yeah, I'm gonna bank money, because even if you work 6-10 days a month making that, it still gave me 20 plus days a month to just wake up. My wife went off to work, and I had the house to myself to just grind on my computer all day long, and I made every minute count. If we're thinking about comedy or the arts as, like any other regular job, it really is about building a resume. The Tuesday night comedy hour at John's Pub, and you got $20 to do it, it shows other show producers, someone gave you $20 and you got a tape of it, it was funny, everyone laughed, that's now on your resume. Right now, the lion's share of my income comes from Cracked.com and other websites, and it all began with the Hard Times. At the time, they paid $30 an article, and it took a couple hours of my time, so it was nothing, like $15 an hour. But it wasn't about that $30. It was about having the Hard Times on my resume, because I wanted to start getting more work from home. I just had a son. I didn't want to be bouncing around doing a lot of live shows, and I was like, okay, this avenue could make a living. Literally just from the Hard Times. I'd only put out a few articles, but I was using it as leverage. I got the Beaverton in Toronto, which is the same idea, like a satirical site. They paid roughly the same, $20-$30 an article, but literally just having the Hard Times on my resume, the Beaverton was like, yeah, let's see what you got. Within the Hard Times, this fellow writer wrote for Cracked, and I just always threw out there, like, I'm a bit of a hustler. I want to leverage one thing to get to another thing. So when a guy said, oh, there's this opening at Cracked, I jumped on it right away. Way back in like 2006, I booked a Pepsi commercial that paid $50. I'm forever get to say I'm in a Pepsi commercial. So in that resume of just acting, that's just always been there. So for 19 years now. A legit agent, which I then went on to, Amanda Rosenthal Talent, hi, in Toronto. Having Pepsi on my resume really helped get her, and then little by little started booking more auditions, but it all started with that one. Look at this, guys. It's like I got up to grade 3 and 3rd grade. Sorry, I'm in America now, and just never really progressed past that. But These, as of right now, are all of my revenue streams as a comedian, writer, actor. There are a lot of comedians that like solely focus on stand up or solely focus on screenwriting, and I admire them. I think it would be so much easier to have like a focused goal because that's one resume and that's like one ladder to climb. I am medicated ADHD, very neurodivergent. I like doing a ton of different things, and that could be an easier way to make money. But if you believe in the 10,000 hour thing, it does take a lot longer. Let's talk about opening each one of these valves and how to actually make money in each one of these things. Wow, we're finally getting to it. Sorry, it's my first fucking video. I ramble. I'm excited. I'm sorry. Live comedy is an easy one for people to wrap their heads around. Like I said earlier, you build an act, you go out there. You can start making money on other people's shows, but I put and producing here because I've made way more money producing my own shows. You don't got to live in New York or LA, you know, Joe's Pub in wherever the fuck Kansas will have you and want to do a comedy night, especially if you're more of a social person and can actually like get people out and have a big family and a lot of friends. Our show, The Boom Show in Toronto, what's up, you guys? Started off big because there's 10 of us and we all got a ton of people out. There's a venue, it was called Showtime in St. Catharines. I'm from the Niagara region in St. Catharines, where I have a big family. My dad's one of 9 kids. I've got like 20-something cousins on that side, plus all my high school friends. They were pumped that I was home from New York City to do a local show. We did an hour headlining set, me and my buddy Eitan, Jay and Eitan. I talked to the owner at Showtime, and I was like, okay, we would get, say, $300 as a headliner, but I'm going to pack this place. It was like 200 and something seater. I'm going to pack it full of my own people. I'll put the work in. I got in the local papers. So can we do like a revenue share on each ticket? And me and Eitan, I think each made over $600 each, where we would have made $150 each because they don't give you double for being a duo. If you're a headliner, you get the $300. And obviously with live comedy, if you want to be solo and you want to be that good, you get management. You can get, like I'm with Comedy Records. We've done corporate gigs that pay really well. There's college gigs that are awesome and really fun, and just a lot more opportunities in that realm if you want to solely be a stand-up. And that's the way to get like bigger things, like to get on like a Tonight Show. The next one is social media. This is obvious. I admittedly am not the best with my own social media. In like 2013, my friends and I dropped a series called YouTube Comment Theater. It was featured on College Humor and Funny or Die, and it started blowing up. It got up to like 10,000 subscribers at the time, and at one point we were each making $400 each, so $1,200 a month was coming in off of just that YouTube channel. I also write videos for Cracked. If you go to the Cracked YouTube channel and on the website itself, a lot of my articles have become videos that have gotten like 300,000 hits. Matt Santoro as well is a buddy of mine from high school. I wrote for him. He's got like 6 million subscribers. So I found a way, like I said, the leverage thing earlier, where if my own thing one day blows up, if my own TikTok or Instagram blows the fuck up, I'll make money that way. If not, I found other ways of getting in there and having an internet presence. Acting, like I said earlier, that one Pepsi commercial, I booked that by doing a live show where I luckily got to be in a few awesome sketches, and there were some agents and managers in the crowd, and this guy picked me and a couple other dudes up and started sending us out for things. But if you don't do the live stuff and you just solely want to get into acting, I'd say make a really good reel. Have a friend shoot it for you, or you shoot it with a decent camera yourself, and show some range or show whatever you want to do, and then shop that around to agents. There's massive lists of agents. You can literally just Google big list of agents, and wherever the hell you happen to live, a lot of times you don't even, like, my agent right now, Ingrid French, is in New York City. I'm up in Albany right now. It's like a few hour drive, but all my auditions are self-tapes. I do something like this with like a blue backdrop, do my 3-4 lines in a commercial or TV show or whatever it is, send that in, do a callback via Zoom. Like, this day and age is insane. Back in my day, when I first started, You'd have to physically go to these places all the time, blast agents, and hope one of them takes it. Also, yeah, inviting them out to like a live show or something and seeing what you could do is how I booked mine. Writing for film and TV, opening that valve is literally having the script. It's not enough to just be like, oh, I got this idea for a movie. Everyone's uncle has an idea for a movie or something. That'd be great. But to physically sit and write one and pitch it to a producer and them seeing your chops, and that's like it being a good idea is obviously good, but them just seeing that you know the structure. Made money on a few different projects that weren't mine that I punched up, just threw in some jokes on, or had someone give me money to write like a short film or something like that. But either way, just getting your work out there. I got my literary management. It was Authentic Management in New York City because a friend of mine worked in a building with one of those agents, and I had a screenplay, and I literally said, hey, when you're out for a smoke with this guy next, can you ask him to read this screenplay, please? And he did. And he signed me and my buddy Bryn because we wrote it together and started shopping our script around. And we ended up selling it and almost making it. And I want to talk more about that one, but at a later date, that could have been a big one. Writing online I found to be the easiest in. Like, you don't need an agent or anyone. I just blasted the hard times with an email, and they have that on their site. You could search yourself. There's Reductress, Beaverton, Hard Times, so many others. Audio, obviously podcasts are massive. I've never had a successful podcast. I've been on a couple big ones. I meant more comedy albums, which people think is a really old, like 70s thing, you know? Or Adam Sandler in the 90s. There's Spotify, Pandora, even XM Radio. XM Radio has a bunch of different comedy channels, and that is very hard to get on, but one of those tracks gets on Sirius XM, and it's been making residuals since like 2016. I really wish I got in on it earlier. And that's gone up and down, up and down, up and down over the years, where there's been months I've made $5,000 a month off of just XM residuals, and out of nowhere it'll drop to like $200 a month. Depends on the rotation. It goes by spins. Even just Spotify, it doesn't pay that much at all, pennies. But if you get on a playlist and it starts blowing up, that could turn into real money as well. In conclusion, wanted to reiterate. So, number one is the mindset that yes, you can make money doing this. Don't think of yourself as some insignificant little thing and that's this big world. Like, I got into those thought processes a lot where it's like, oh, that's for them. That's for the Adam Sandlers of the world, and who am I, this little... But no, if you're funny and you work your tail off to get real good, you can live in this world, in any one of those realms that I described earlier. It's for you. It's for all of us. But the mindset is that money can be made, and it's not a starving artist till you're a millionaire. It's dollar by dollar, all right? Every dollar counts. The basic economics, the sliding scale, find out what your monthly payments are, have that number, and chip away at it little by little, so that out of nowhere you're like, oh my God, this entire month I paid for on comedy. Keep expenses low, obviously, because you need time, and find work that allows time for comedy as well. Build your resume, just like the mindset thing, where it's real. It's a real thing. Every little thing counts. Your resume, your portfolio, or your demo reel. It starts with nothing, and it's awesome to see it build into something, a body of work that you can look back on, but it takes time. Leverage every one of those opportunities. Wherever you happen to be in, you're doing a 10-minute set at Joe's Pub in wherever the hell you are. When's the next show, Joe, or whoever's putting that on? Or can I put on a show here, please? On a Thursday night or Monday night, whatever that is. Or, hey, the guy that puts on this show, I'm going to become awesome friends with, and he might do another show somewhere else. Just one little thing that you make $20 at. Try to find a way to... That's now a valve that's open to turn into $30, $40, $50, $60. More. And yes, open those valves. Opening a valve makes it real. It makes it a real income stream, and now you got to put the work in to actually do it. Guys, thank you so very much for being with me. You could be anywhere else on the internet. We're all vying for your attention. Um, Again, I want to do so many of these videos. Please like, subscribe, whatever you got to do to help me make more of these. And if I can make at least one human being start making money as a comedian, artist, actor, writer, whatever it is you want to do with stuff like this, I'd die a happy man. Thank you so very much. Peace and love. Bye.